One of the reasons it's hard to be a conspiracy theorist or a truther or anyone who has heard a certain line of arguments and believed it is that the people who don't believe it miss a very fundamental thing. There is a certain level of arrogance, or maybe it's a necessary component of the manipulation, to include symbolism. And somebody said symbolism will be their downfall, but the thing is, the symbolism exists as a language, unspoken, literally. It's a more visual, conceptual language, and it exists in dreams, and it exists consistently across people who are not connected, some of whom have never heard of the symbols. They receive whatever their brain processes and shows them, but the more articulate your palette of symbols in your mind is, the more your brain can tell you specifically. And as an oneiromancer, as I refer to myself sometimes, the more I gain, I get surprises, things that I don't know about, that my brain presents to me in dreams. I'm not saying this like psychic, remote view, anything like that. What I mean is, like, everyone's brain does this. You will have a dream about a specific thing, an object, a something, a person. And one of the ones recently that I learned about that I didn't know was after having several dreams in a row where very specifically the type of tree that was in the dream, where I had to I felt bogged down and I was pulling on branches to move. Like the tree branches were hanging down. I was reaching up and grabbing them and using them to pull myself forward to continue progress in this dream. And there's a whole set of meanings to being slowed down, moving in slow motion. There's a whole set of meanings to the type of tree that I specifically saw and utilized before looking up a particular dream, because there was a person standing underneath of this tree. Well, it turns out that sycamore trees represent some type of goal or quality to be aspired to, something to be respected or whatever. And I've not explored like the shape of the tree and the way it behaves over the course of its lifetime to, like, you know, what that implies. But if you see someone standing under a particular type of tree, what that tree implies, this person has a thing in that direction that you should look for. And so even there, like, my brain knew to show me, or my mind, or however you want to look at it, to show me this type of tree with a particular meaning that is common. So it's a language. It's an unspoken language that is apparently known by all. And it's kind of proof of the collective unconscious. It's like all of our minds are wired the same. I suppose it's a fractal thing, but they are interactive enough. It's like you could create an AI that was conscious and also would go to sleep and dream, and in its dreams, whatever it would be dreaming about would be something happening in reality. This is a thing that I think I wrote something about a long time ago. It's been over a decade, but this is a familiar idea to me. What I'm getting at with it is that symbolism is that deep as a language. It connects to something fundamental and mysterious to us yet. And there are, in dreams, there are God archetypes, there are regular archetypes, these are all components that are made of the common things. But the collective unconscious, the things we are unaware of, that manifests the shadows. So collective ego would be the hero. The trickster is a god archetype. The child hero is a god archetype. I believe the wise old man and wise old woman are god archetypes. If you look at the actual spread of different variations of which of these characters show up in people's dreams, and what I mean by that is the man and the woman, they will appear in different age ranges and not always the same, or maybe they will the same. But the wise old man and the wise old woman are each the same individual portrayed as the young maiden or the little boy, or there's there's basically 4 phases of life of adult, from childhood through adulthood that you will see each of these in, sometimes as a pair. And there are more, seems like there are more god archetypes than not. Shadow is also a god archetype. So the god archetypes they will conduct themselves accordingly. If you encounter them in your dreams, you have nothing to fear. There are other archetypal shapes that will show up that are not, I guess, necessarily bound to that. They become characters in the dream. But I think not the same as projections of people, but I don't really understand the true nature of it, and just using a movie analogy on that doesn't quite fit it. So maybe that's what those projections are non-god archetypes. But I mean, I don't think the hero is a god archetype. Like the wizard. Or that due to that connection of it, it's all the same. So that's a very powerful unspoken language, to have a thing that creates an alternate level of your reality sometimes when you sleep, and sometimes when you're awake, depending on your circumstances. So the point of it is there's always some blatant symbol, something right out in front, that either you will notice in retrospect. I want her to know it was me. That kind of thing. The newspaper company I worked for was named for the literal name of the building, the guard shack that the gatekeepers of information would literally operate a gate. Urgh. Nobody wants to listen. It's kind of the same thing as the World Economic Forum literally having a dude giving a speech with the words in the background saying Great Reset and talking about it, but then the news says, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Nobody's trying to do that. And meanwhile, this dude is giving speeches that are available on the internet that are talking about exactly what they're planning on doing. And you're also watching it kind of happen in the world around you, as far as the news, the government, the rules, how corporate-owned businesses are going to conduct themselves. But as well, there's censorship to that. There's people daring to break out and question, which is good. I don't think we should have ever reached a point where the entire population of the world is either about ready to revolt or just cowed like sheep. Chattel. There are sheep cattle people. Chattel? Oh, change that S to a C, and what do you got? Human property. One step away, huh? So symbolism is a powerful language. It supposedly, somebody said it would be their downfall, but I think who said it would be their downfall might have been wrong more often than they were right, too. So symbolism is their strength because they've got people believing that this shit doesn't exist, and So what if all of this year and a half were going on? We are at almost a year and a half of this being the narrative, this being the big emergency, this being the new normal. Give me shit about normal and new normal. Before 9/11, I already had figured out that there was no such thing as normal. And then I watched a new normal happen with a surveillance state, foreign wars for territory and resources, and no bid contracts. So this new normal is moving into a new phase. Assuming, for the sake of argument, that the disease is 100% real. I'm not saying that it is what they're saying it is, that it is a microorganism, a virus of a particular family and strain that causes a particular set of symptoms in most people. Well, most people who get it, and the symptoms range in severity. So, assuming, for the sake of argument, that that is a real thing, and they're certainly utilizing it, the existence, the use of it as a term, but I mean, I don't have firsthand access to the actual raw data of where everyone everywhere stands. I'm not. There's one group of people that are making a particular bunch of noise that you hear about. This is hearing about, stuff, a particular topic, but I'm otherwise not really hearing about it. I'm not seeing it. There's not anywhere that I've been any sign or reason to think that anything's happening. Otherwise, the sun's out. We could be paying attention to the world around us. Instead, we're being told one thing and maybe seeing another. So, symbolism. They're moving into Greek letter names. Now, I am an old school epsilonist. I don't know the Greek language. I don't know the whole alphabet. I know when you name a letter, what letter it corresponds to. So, I also know that it's a Semitic language that has almost literal connected overtones to other languages that were rooted in the same. They all basically come from ancient Phoenician. And as such, they basically all mean the same thing. So alpha is aleph, means the letter A, but there's a pictographic meaning to each letter in that alphabet. Delta, you remember the conspiracy theory thing. It's been about 11 minutes since I mentioned it. They put these things right out in front, and only the smart people will notice, and the dumb people will say, oh, you're crazy, because smart people to stupid people sound like crazy people. Delta, the letter, conspiracy theories. All those famous people doing a particular hand gesture. Delta looks like that. Lambda is the tripartite bend symbol. That's a lambda. But if you were to make it a squared letter, like just drawing a triangle for delta, you could just make a tripoint, which you could then fit inside the delta like a piece of a Triforce or something. Um, it's just that occurred to me. I had to make a video about it. I've been of the belief for many, many years that it kind of comes back to my tarot experience, the understanding of the meanings of those symbols, that their concept of they call the devil is, see, there's an archetypal hero. I don't know, maybe that symbolism will be their downfall. But you've got this variant and the name they're going to give the next one already. People assumed it was going to be epsilon, and this one is lambda. So what is letter L on their list if the delta variant was from India? Lambda is Lamed, letter L, but Lamed is like the shepherd's pole with the hook, the goad. It is for saving and guiding, supposedly. So, yeah. There is a lot of symbolism being used in what's going on. And it's only in some places and it's very subtle. But I know that doctors don't believe in magic, so whatever is guiding this is I don't know what to make of it. I think the idea of the standalone complex, it probably makes the most sense. There are a bunch of groups of special rich interests that want to make more money, and they're using industries to do it. The people that have been pushing it have stakes in those industries, and it's just a economic free-for-all with propaganda, and they're basically marketing these trends and waves via official authoritative sources and the government, and seizing upon whatever real world event or occurrence enables them to do it. But it doesn't fully explain why they constantly use this symbolism. Throw it right out there. Do they legitimately think that everybody is that dumb, or that only so many people will get it? Is this perhaps something to do with a bell curve about humanity's Overton window or something that prevents more people from recognizing what that is? Or is it something even deeper underlying, where these symbols are actually things that are going to be visible to whoever is dreaming of this lifetime? Somebody somewhere else is having a dream roughly of what I experience, but what their mind shows them versus what I experience. Or the question could be, is that what this is? Am I experiencing a dream in life? Is that what my life is? Or am I the person dreaming? Will I wake from this? Interesting questions. Very deep nature. But if that is the case, can we even understand what these symbols are meant to mean? Do they mean nothing related to this context, this existence? answer is most likely a combination or superposition of all of it. But examine your dreams. Is there ever genuine malice in anything you encounter? Or is it simply the dream being the dream? Personally, I don't remember the last time a big scary monster chased me. So, my dreams are typically weird vignettes and little sketches and scenes that are my mind displaying certain expressions in the language of symbolism that upon waking I can write down and decipher. That is oniromancy. So I provide no answers, I ask only questions, express some opinions. From a purely human perspective, the matters of the lifetime of this dude and the people that are capable of viewing this video, you can call that reality or the world if that's how you think about it, but it's just one place in one part of time across what seems to be multiple layers. And within this one, the control is in the hands of people. Just people. Whether they're controlled by something else or someone else, I don't know. But it's people. And the only way to expose what is behind the curtain is to confront the people. Not physically confront them, but present them with things that they can't deny, and if they continue to lie, then you call them a liar. Everybody's afraid of offending people, and it leads to people taking full advantage in an uncouth manner while accusing others of being out of line.